Classic Plus raids have insane potential, guys. This is a brand new Willy video. It's been on my watch later for a few days. Let's check it out. Why do Classic Plus raids have such insane potential? If I'm going to answer the title of the video, it's because there's a lot of excitement and lore already there. So it's like something like a Grim Batol has been like sitting there for so long, or like a Hyjal, or like an Uldum. It's like Scarlet Enclave, right? A lot of it was already kind of like designed, and the lore is already kind of there, and the place is already there. It's just like you kind of need to go there and clear it, right? Which is better than just like making something up out of thin air. Like that's why I think Classic Plus in general has such insane potential. But Willy, give it to us.
2026 is very much appearing as though it of Classic Plus, and when this version of the game finally drops, it has some absolutely enormous potential, and perhaps no area more so than when it comes to raiding. Raiding has always been a huge part of World of Warcraft, and personally one of my favorite areas of the game, and when you consider the lore of the vanilla world as well as unfinished concepts that already exist, Blizzard have so many potential areas they could turn into raids. None of these are official or confirmed, of course, they're just speculation on my part, and some of them will be more popular theories which you'll have probably heard of, to some ones which I think personally could fit in the world. So with that said, let's begin. So I want to start with one of the strangest loose ends in the original game. If you've quested through Ashenvale and Duskwood back in the day, you may have stumbled onto a quest chain called the Scythe of Elune. And if you've quested through this chain, you'll know we never really got a proper answer to it. The quest chain starts all the way over in Ashenvale. We are sent into the Howling Vale to investigate the Worgen threat. There you find a priestess named Valinda Starsong had been granted a mysterious artifact called the Scythe of Elune to fight against the demon threat, but after having summoned the Worgen, they found they couldn't stop summoning them, and so Valinda would eventually hear of a mage in the Eastern Kingdoms, Aragorn, who had also summoned the Worgen and was planning to take the staff to him to see what could be done about it. However, on her journey there, she met her end in Duskwood at an explosion in Roland's Doom. After that, none other than Jitters would discover the scythe and accidentally summon the Worgen into Duskwood as well. And the quest series just sort of ends there. Now during Legion, of course, we do recover the staff and it's used as an artifact weapon, but there's—
Oh, I didn't know the Legion Scythe of Elune was that same one. I never made that connection. Did you guys? I've done the quest, and then I played Legion, and I saw, like, I just never thought they were the same. Oh, okay.
It's an interesting alternative route the quest could take here. What if the Scythe of Elune did actually make its way to Archmage Aragorn over in Silverpine Forest? Imagine a raid on Gilneas with the empowered Worgen and him as a potential final boss, wielding this legendary weapon, which then players could obtain afterwards somehow perhaps. I think just having another story with a Worgen join the Alliance is kind of played out. We don't need to go down that route again necessarily, but a potential raid involving Archmage Aragorn, a battle for Gilneas, and the Worgen threat could be something that really ties together a bunch of storylines and gives players an opportunity for a brand new legendary too.
So this is why I think Classic Plus has such good potential. I said it before the video, and I think Willy is saying this exact same thing. No, not pre-watched, by the way. You have these storylines that are already developed, so people are already invested to some degree, and then you can expand upon them, and it's like, holy crap, that's way cooler than just like making something up where no one's invested at all. And the reason this is fresh in my mind is because I just played Warcraft 3. And after playing Warcraft 3, you go play Classic WoW. Well, actually, not even so much Classic WoW, but like TBC. You go play TBC and like Wrath, and it's like, holy crap, you see those cinematics, and it's like, no wonder people are so darn invested. Like, check out Warcraft 3, right? So you have like Classic WoW, people clearly love it, and there's storylines that are already like pretty developed or very developed, and then you can actually finish them or kind of add on to them, and it's like, this is already something people are invested into. So it just kind of owns. That's why I mean Classic Plus is a pretty good idea.
Next one I want to talk about could be in Ungoro Crater, because Ungoro has always felt like it's hiding something. And in vanilla, the importance of Ungoro within the world is a little bit understated, and it's built upon in future expansions. In later versions of the game, we find out there's Titan facilities here, and Ungoro was very much used as a place to create new beings and see what would happen. And that's where there could potentially be some grounds for a new raid here in Classic Plus too. Maybe we could uncover a Titan facility here somewhere. There could be a raid of pretty much entirely dinosaurs, or then again there could be titanic creations that went horribly wrong, as in a raid full of mutants and haywire titanic constructs and that sort of thing. It could also open up a bunch more lore about what goes on in Ungoro during a vanilla setting and its importance within the world. Next is definitely a bit more of a popular one. If you've ever done Reputation with the Timbermaw furbolgs, you'll know Timbermaw Hold is one of the strangest and most underused places in the game. It's not just a tunnel connecting Fellwood to Winterspring and Moonglade, there is also a second entrance all the way over in Azshara, so there could be speculations that the Hold runs this entire way underground and not just the very small bit that we see. And what a lot of people want to see is a raid where this is opened up. Perhaps the entrance should be in Azshara though, as it is a very underused zone at the moment, and we could...
I don't know, have I ever seen that entrance in Azshara? I don't know if I have. I've heard it referenced before. I don't know if I've actually been there in game before. Have I seen that? It's hard to miss, really? Where is it in Azshara? You should have. It's by Timbermaw. There's quests near there. It's like northwest. Okay. Yeah, that would be interesting if they like carved out that whole tunnel and there's just like a massive something underground. That'd be very interesting.
Definitely use one or two more things there. Then again, perhaps Timbermaw Hold was sealed off by the furbolgs for the safety of everyone else. What if the furbolg there fell to corruption and they had to be sealed away? We don't know what's happened in there, but it would be very interesting to see. Another faction I'd like to see expanded on a bit more are the Syndicate within vanilla World of Warcraft. They're already a very mysterious faction that we never really find out too much about. As far as we know, they're Alterac nobility who are stripped of their land, and in response to that they turn to banditry and thievery. What's notable is that vanilla treats Stromgarde as a real unresolved conflict too, with the Alliance and the remaining Stromgarde military trying to dislodge the remaining Syndicate members from their former capital, and they haven't managed it yet. What I'd like to see is potentially a raid on Stromgarde as a follow-up from the open world zone that already exists there. Then again, there could be a Syndicate base up in the Alterac Mountains where they've been holding their operations. I think it would be interesting too, because a lot of time raids are against very open factions who are either doing something really bad or who are obviously a problem. The Syndicates are definitely a bit more on the down low, and perhaps a raid on their hideout could have more traps and less focus on just direct boss encounters. The next one's definitely a more popular fan theory, and that's revisiting Azshara again. So you may well know that in early...
So this is the area, I would assume, with the furbolgs? You guys said northwest? I don't know if I've ever actually like looked here, weirdly enough. I probably have, but I never made the connection that this actually went to that same pass. Huh.
Vanilla, there was actually a submerged instance portal set out in Azshara that was speculated to be a raid surrounding the Naga, and the Naga within Vanilla are absolutely a very present threat across a whole bunch of zones, so I think it would only make sense for them to be explored in a raiding setting too. As for the setting for this raid though, well, let me just say I doubt it will be underwater. Blizzard have kind of had their attempts at doing underwater content several times over the years in World of Warcraft, and suffice to say I don't think they'll be revisiting it in a vanilla setting.
Bro, like, some people liked Vashir, by the way. I don't like underwater content. I feel like it just doesn't play very well. I don't really like boat content either. I feel like that doesn't play very well either. A lot of people like seem to like it or not like it. Like I don't know. I just like I'm not a big fan.
One underwater boss, kind of like the Blackwater Behemoth during Azshara's Eternal Palace in BFA, but outside of that I would expect the rest of the raid to be on land, both because I think it will be easier for Blizzard to design and that's just what players prefer.
I hope so, bro. Imagine an underwater raid. One's in the chat if you would play an underwater raid and love it. Two's in the chat if you'd rather do anything else than play an underwater raid. I'm a 2, man. I do not want to play an underwater raid at all. Like, yeah, no thank you, brother.
The next one is a raid idea which technically already exists, and I'm sure Blizzard will reuse it, and that will be for the Scarlet Crusade. Similar to a Naga-themed raid, a Scarlet Crusade-themed raid has been something people have wanted forever. And in Season of Discovery, right towards the end of its life cycle, Blizzard finally made that happen and introduced the Scarlet Enclave, bringing in tons of new powerful gear, new lore, and even the Ashbringer to a vanilla setting. And all I
Would you guys be upset if they just straight up copy pasted Scarlet Enclave to Classic Plus? Like, I'm actually pretty torn here because I love Scarlet Enclave. I love it. But I think something feels weird to just straight up bring it over. I don't know. But I love the raid. Like, I thought it owned. But I feel like it should maybe be a little different. I don't, you know? No, not at all. No. Maybe, like, it would be cool if they changed some stuff. Like, I do love the raid, and I actually would want it in Classic Plus, but I feel like I shouldn't just rip it one for one. Like, maybe some stuff. Yo, Terox, 5 gifted subs. Thank you very much, man.
Can say is I'm sure they're not going to let that work go to waste in one way or another.
Yeah, true.
It could return as an endgame raid, though the gear would need to be toned down significantly, or then again maybe Blizzard make it into a level up raid instead, kind of like how Black Fathoms Deep or No More Gun were during
I don't know if I liked level up raids. Okay, hear me out. BFD was awesome, but the reason it was awesome is because players were capped at level 25. Nomer was awesome, but the reason it was awesome is because players were capped at 40. If the cap is just 60, how many people actually do level up raids? Like, you would maybe do it like one, like the effort to get 10 people in a raid instead of just hitting another dungeon or questing. I don't know if it would, like, you know what I mean? Like, I think people would just usually skip it. Especially 6 months after launch or a year after launch or 2 years after launch. It's like, am I really going to gather 10 level 25s to do an entire raid? Probably not. I don't know. Like in Season of Discovery, past phase 1, usually leveling, you wouldn't be able to get 10 people to do this at your same level at the same time, so you just would skip it, even though it was really good experience. I don't know. I don't know if I see it.
Season of Discovery. Either way, again, I think Blizzard are not going to let all that work they did on the Scarlet Enclave go to waste, and we'll see it return in one way or another. Another place I'd love to see expanded on would be Grim Batol over in the Wetlands. Now, you only really see the entrance to this place if you're doing the Onyxia Attunement quest on the Horde specifically. For Alliance players, I wouldn't be surprised if you've never even been there in-game, because it's not exactly the easiest to get to, or there's not really many reasons to go there either because it's just a big door. But the lore behind it is really interesting. Originally, it was a Wild Hammer Dwarf stronghold before the Second War. Sometime afterwards, the Dragonmaw clan seized it and used it as their base of operations. The Orcs also used it as a staging ground to breed dragons, and Alexstrasza was even held there for a time. But after she was free, Grim Batol was sealed away, and these many years later, it still remains a big point of mystery. What still remains in there? Could there be an instance involving the Dragonmaw Orcs? Or then again, perhaps the Twilight Hammer get involved as they do in Cataclysm, and the instance is full of elementals with some dragons too. Whatever they end up doing with Grim Batol, I'm sure it's going to be an interesting instance one way or the other though. After that is one of the most legendary raids in WoW history, which I'm sure we will also see make a return, Karazhan. Now,
Karazhan's interesting because it was supposed to kind of be in Classic. They pushed it to TBC, obviously. And then there's Kara Crypts, which we did get in SOD, which is probably my favorite thing they did in SOD, maybe. Definitely the favorite dungeon. Like, it rocked. Once again, we have the same question. Should they copy-paste Kara Crypts into Classic Plus because it was so darn good? Or should they do a new Kara Crypts? And then what about Karazhan itself? Lots of questions here. It's like begging, it's like content begging to be made, but at the same time, like they already did it in SOD and it owned. I don't know. Kara Crypts in SOD, though, if you didn't do it, remarkably good.
Karazhan has always been sitting there in vanilla. Even during the alpha and beta stages of the game, Blizzard were already working on Karazhan. And during vanilla, it's just sitting there ominously in the Deadwind Pass waiting to be used. Finally, when TBC came around, Blizzard would end up finishing it, and it's a raid that people love. In fact, people love Karazhan so much that Blizzard even brought it back during Legion as a 2-part mega dungeon. So I will not be surprised at all when in some shape or form Karazhan ends up being instance content once again. Perhaps there could even be an open world aspect to it where you need to investigate the tower, and it could be used for questing, and then there's an instance in there too somewhere. Also, during Season of Discovery, Blizzard made the Karazhan Crypts. This was a 5-man dungeon on a lockout, which introduced a brand new darkness mechanic where somebody had to carry a torch, and really explored this legendary location. Again, similar to the Scarlet Enclave, I do believe they will bring the Karazhan Crypts back because it just doesn't make sense to waste all that time and effort that they spent on it. However, this shouldn't take away from the potential Karazhan has as an actual raid. A raid that differs from the TBC version again, because as good as the TBC version is, that's very much its own thing. What I'm looking for out of Classic Plus is to see Blizzard do their own thing and imagine things in a fresh way. Another one which is very...
So that's fascinating. If they do Kara, would you guys rather have the Kara from TBC and it's just implemented in Classic Plus, which I guess is a lazy way of doing it, but it could also be fun to do a 10-man raid in Classic Plus and to do Kara in Classic? Or would you rather them just reimagine Karazhan with the potential that they ruin it and it sucks compared to the normal Kara, like it's worse? New, both, new, a bit of both. Like the reimagining, I think could be good or it could be bad. But I feel like they should do something with Kara. Maybe changing it up a little bit could be cool. That's not a bad idea. Like you keep like the structure and the bones, but like there is new stuff. Maybe that's the right answer here. Yeah, a lot of people, Karazhan's like their favorite raid and they absolutely love it. So anything is a downgrade, which kind of sucks. But then if you just put in Karazhan as TBC Kara, then it's also just looked at as like lazy and like, well, that's just already Kara. So where's the plus part, bro? You know?
Easy to overlook, I think, is the fact that Dalaran exists in vanilla World of Warcraft. It's not a floating city though, as it is in Wrath or Legion. It's just a mysterious purple bubble sitting over in the Alterac Mountains. And I think some kind of instance or raid reopening Dalaran could be really interesting. What is sitting inside that purple bubble? What's been locked away for all these years? Maybe you could even get the Syndicate involved or some rogue mage faction. Perhaps there are wild elementals or magical traps. It could even be something where we retake Dalaran and then it ends up being some kind of new faction hub over in this location. Similar to many of these, there's a huge amount of potential here, and I know I'd love to see Dalaran explored in a vanilla setting. And last but not least, why not finally get a proper pirate raid in vanilla? There is tons of pirate threats across a whole different bunch of zones, including Tanaris and Stranglethorn Vale already. But for the most part, pirates are only a threat in the open world and involved with questing. So I think there is a huge amount of potential there to see them brought to instance content. Maybe there's kind of a raid on Booty Bay, or there's a pirate...
I mean, in Scarlet Enclave, you have like the ship boss with like the plunder. I'm trying to think, what's the name of that boss? He's like by the shore and there's like ships and he drops the doubloon. Like that one's kind of cool. I don't know, that's just one boss though, not really a whole raid. Oh yeah, Mason.
Stronghold that's found that we can go and visit and see if we can take some loot back from them for once. A raid against a larger South Sea threat or the Bloodsail pirates could be super interesting to see, and it would almost certainly give us a reason to go to some lesser visited places in the world too. But those are just 10 places I think Classic Plus could look at for raiding content without doing anything too extravagant or unnecessary within a vanilla world. These are already a bunch of existing threats within the world, or places which have been set out which were finally used in later expansions.
I think Willie just said it right there. There are places that are already existing. You don't have to like stretch it too much. It's literally already there. I think that's why Classic Plus is a good concept. I think when you start having to just like, oh, there's a brand new continent, like there's a brand new like island in the middle of the ocean like that we just found, guys, and there's a new raid on it. Like, yeah, you can do that, but this is way cooler, right? There's so many years of content already lined up. It's like, don't do that until much, much, much later, if ever, and do all this stuff first. So yeah, I totally agree.
So what do you think of these 10 ideas? Were there any that you definitely expect to see? And was there anything you hadn't thought of yourself yet, which you heard and you thought, actually, that sounds pretty cool. I'd like to see that too. Let me know in the comments down below. And as always, thank you all so much for watching and listening in, and I'll see you all in the next one very soon.
Very soon. Willie, bangers as per usual. Jeez, guys, we disconnected in the middle of that, so if you're watching on YouTube, hopefully my editor stitched it together to where you didn't even notice. But on the live stream, guys, we're back. Holy crap. Guys, on Friday, we had internet problems. Now on Monday, I didn't update my drivers, I guess. My drivers crashed. I don't even know. I kind of want to go run over in Azshara and see that place that he was talking about with the furbolgs to see if I've ever been there. Okay, so I don't think I've seen this, guys. Why would I have ever seen this? Why would I have ever been here? So a little follow-up after that Willy video. You guys were like, yeah, for sure you've seen this. By the way, the rare is up, but I can't actually kill him since I'm friendly with these guys. Gatekeeper Rage Roar. Kill the rare? I can't kill them, guys. They're friendly. Toggle war mode on. I farmed out Furbolg medicine pouch on this guy for the tourney. Turn the rep to at war. Is that gonna screw me? I spent a lot of time farming rep here, guys. It is minus a little bit, minus 300. I lose my honored rep. I don't know, but I don't need this guy. I'm just gonna leave him up for someone else. Maybe Mingle needs to kill him later or something. I don't know. All right, that's kind of legit though. I don't think I've ever actually seen this. Everyone's like, you for sure have, but I don't actually think I have. I just don't think I've ever had any reason to go over here. That gate is so placeholder. Well, that's the point, right? There's so many things in Classic WoW that are placeholder that you can like do stuff with. It's rad.